Hello everyone, it is Susan here and welcome to hashtag Tag Tuesday. This is a collaboration that is hosted by Sheree from Turquoise Dreaming, and her video link or her YouTube channel link is below in my description box. So head on over there. She'll have a list of the participants in her description box so you can go and see everyone's tags. So I'm speeding the video up just a little bit and doing a voiceover. So these two tags are 3 inches by just over 6 inches. And I wanted to use stenciling on here, and I really like the heart and the star stencils, but I'm going to go with circle stencils today. And I'm just showing you, these are, there's many of them out there in the marketplace, but these are, some of the circle stencils that I have in my collection. So I'm not quite sure which stencils I'm going to use yet, but I am starting with some of the Dina Wakley Cheddar color paint, acrylic paint, and that's my little collection of them. And I'm going to be using some modeling paste, and I'll show you that in a little bit. I did search through this bin of tissue paper, and I pulled out 4 different patterns, and you're going to see me work with these. Now, to get the tissue paper onto these tags, I'm using the Liquitex matte medium, and it's just such a great way to get them down and to stay down. It's a great liquid adhesive. So this particular tissue paper, I'm loving the birds, and this one, obviously, I am loving that the cacti on here. Both of them are super pretty, and they're very different. Yet there's some similar colors in them. And for accent pieces, I have that plaid and then this pink. And this pink is pretty because it is two-toned. There's a little bit of a lighter pink circle in there. So that big bird right there, like I was trying to get 2 birds on there as a focal point, but I'm going to go with that one bird there as my focal point. And I put a little bit too much of the matte media on here, but that's all right. I kind of work with it. The bad thing about it is that the tag just stays wet longer. Besides that, it doesn't hurt it or anything. And so that's how easy it is to get that. And I'm trying to decide which is going to go with which. And I figured I'd put the plaid with the birds. And I like to put the matte medium on the top as well because it does help it to adhere. And when you're using something like napkins or tissue paper, it also helps to make it more transparent. Now you're going to see me go around and I'm going to tear the excess off. And then later I'm going to come in and just clean up, around the whole tag with some scissors just to make it nice and clean. And as I tear, you're going to see that some of the tissue paper actually comes off of the top of the tag. And that's all right, as long as it's not crazy messy. I'm fine with it not being super neat and clean, so to speak. So I like the way that looks. I'm happy with that. I'm going to set it to the side. It can start drying just a little bit. And this time I'm going to use a lot less of the matte medium, and and much better. It was much easier to work with because I could, continue working on this one even before I could finish the other one, because the other one took a while to dry. And not that it dried, fully dried during this video. It didn't, but it just, had a little bit of a few minutes to set. And again, I'm just going to tear around the edges. Oh, you probably hear that. Somebody's blowing a horn outside. There's sirens going. Oh my gosh. There's always something. You know, I live a fairly, well, I live in a suburban area, I guess I would call it, suburbia. But it's funny because I feel like every video I either have planes flying over or there's a train track down the street where they have like like they do the Polar Express for Christmas. So and then like at Easter they do special train rides. So it's not like it's a commuter train. It's just used at certain times for pleasure. So there's that, and then I have motorcycles and cars beeping and sirens. But it's really a really quiet area. Oh my goodness. All right. So now, right on my tabletop, I'm going to use some of this modeling paste. I'm not taking a huge amount, just enough of what I think I'm going to need. And this palette knife is very old and very loved. I used to use it a lot for my mixed media collages and you know, acrylic painting and all that kind of stuff. So I just mixed it up so that cheddar is just beautiful. It's quite robust, and I really like that color a lot. And now to decide which stencil I'm going to go for. And I didn't want to go that small. That one was super small. So I decided to go with this one. Now, you know, on this, you're not going to put the paint everywhere. Like on some projects you might, but for this one, I just want sporadic stenciling on here. And you can see that some of the circles are full circles and some of them are not full, and it's just perfect. It's exactly how I want it to be. And while it's wet, I decided I'm going to go ahead and activate some of this gold watercolor paint, and we're going to do some splattering. But this particular color up on top here, I just didn't think it was going to show up, so I didn't use it, and I went with the darker shade on the bottom. So all I did was use some water, right, and my fan brush to activate the paint, and then tap, 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 and get some more paint, tap, tap, tap. And I'm trying to keep the splattering where the stencil was as well. And I like that, and I'll just lift it up. I am happy with the way it's looking, but now I have to figure out what to do with the hole at the top of the tag. Because the tag is quite beautiful, right, with that reinforcer on there for the hole, but I just didn't want to do it. I didn't want to cut through the tissue paper. I don't know. So I went a whole different approach, and I took some of this rickrack and I basically crisscrossed it at the bottom and just got it to where I thought that it looked pretty, and used my tiny attacher, and then that is done. Easy peasy. So at this point, I'm happy with the tag, and yeah. So for now, I'm happy with that, and it's nice and flat. So when I go to use that in my junk journal, I'm not adding a lot of dimension to my junk journal. So I'm good with that. I'm going to set it aside to dry, and now I decided to use this stencil for this particular tag. Yeah, it's the same process. And you know what? You get to decide how much stenciling you want on your project and how much you don't. So you get to decide that. And I'm happy with that. And I will be cleaning up the edges on this tag with a scissor. But this is the one that's still really wet, so I didn't try to cut it just yet. So I'll do the splattering, and this time I'm going to use even the darker gold. And you can see that's really getting down. I can almost see the underneath of that paint. That's my most favorite color. Obviously, it's the one I use the most. And yeah, so I think that that looks really pretty. And then wait until you see, oh my gosh, what I do with this tag in the end. Oh, I messed it all up, and I'll show you. But now we need to clean up all of this modeling paste over here. And you know, when there's a good amount left, you don't want to discard it because, well, you know, why waste it? So that paper that I showed you is actually a page from my junk journal, and I'm just putting this right on there, and look at how cool that looks. So that will dry, and when I go to use this page in my junk journal, it has a beginning to it already. It has one layer on it already, and a lot of times that's a nice way to start a page, right? I'm just going to spray some water on here and clean up my desk area. And what I was saying right there was that it's good to have some water and paper towels when you're doing this kind of work, because it can get a little messy. It can, for sure. So this Liquitex ink, which is an iridescent rich copper, I thought it would be super pretty to get that color onto this rickrack to put on the top of this tag, because I didn't necessarily want them to be exactly the same. So this is a good way to add some color to some type of a fabric or something porous, without going way out of your way. And it's easy. It's, you know, it's this little bowl, and I'm using the same brush I did for the gold. So now I have some gold in with that iridescent rich copper, and it's all wonderful. And I just kind of smush it around, and that's it. I mean, it's that easy. So, you know, like if I wanted to make that black, I would use black ink, but I have that type of ink in really all different colors. I have like pastel colors and just all different colors. I don't know if you're familiar with the Dr. P.H. Martin droppers of paints and stuff, but they're really pretty. So I was happy with that. I liked the way that that looked, and I didn't have to worry about the hole. Now they're different. I mean, they're the same. It's the same process for both of these tags, but they do look slightly different. So now I decided, well, let me look through my Distress Oxides, and I pulled out the Wild Honey because I do want to get a little bit of that around this one tag. The other one I didn't do because, again, it was still too wet. But doing it this way, it was just like adding a border onto the tag without getting too much onto the top of the tag. And I thought it was just enough. Yeah. And I couldn't do the other tag because I didn't cut the edges yet either, to make them nice and straight. So I'm super happy with the way that these are looking. And now watch this. Okay, so I had to pop back on because I just made a mess out of my tag. I can't believe I just did that. So as you can see, the beautiful stenciling that was on this tag is now on my backdrop for my photos. So this obviously was not fully dried. I was putting some of this ink around the edges, and that actually fell on top of that. And then I picked it up and the whole tag flipped over, and there you go. So I do have, oh, wait, I'm getting blurry. I do have a bit of a mess on this tag, but I'm going to leave it as is because you know what? I don't know. I don't super mind it because I can cover it if it really bothers me with a quote or something, but I just wanted to share with you that, you know what, these things happen. What are you going to do, right? This one's still good. I didn't mess that one up, thank goodness. Okay, here's some photos.